Hey everyone, I'm here live at Up Academy this evening to do a tour with you, to share a little bit about our school and hopefully answer any questions. So if you have questions, please feel free to type them in. I think they show up on my screen. I'll do my best to answer them. You can see it's a little bit of a chilly, blustery night here in San Mateo, so let's head inside. On our way in, I can show you our outdoor play area. We do have a small fenced-in yard here where the kids come out. They sometimes do snack and recess out here and have picnics. And as we go around the other side of the building, I can show you their garden project that we were just starting before we had to go on break. So here we are inside of Up Academy. Right before we left, we were doing a project called March Away from Screens, which ironically was no screen time, and now we are all virtual learning. We have an indoor playscape and gym. This is multi-purpose. It works for our students at morning meeting. It works for our students during snack and lunch. It provides a little bit of activity in between classes when needed, and is also accessible for everyone. So it's used for therapeutics as well as for our general education students to play on. In our entryway, we have hooks for kids to bring their things. You can see our Up Academy agreements. Be kind, be respectful, participate, always do your best, and have fun learning. And some cubbies for students to put some things into. We'll walk around the building a little bit and I can share why we founded Up Academy and talk a little bit about our graduate standards. So one of our graduate standards is having a growth mindset, as you can see here on our entry bulletin board. And a growth mindset means that when things don't work, you can keep trying. It may take some time and effort, but you're on the right track and you can figure it out. So instead of giving up when something doesn't work quite right, figuring out why it didn't work right, and then working to fix it. There's some student artwork that is up. And then we'll walk into our library. We have a small library that we use as a reading space. Students come in here for quiet reading time. They come in here for buddy reading time. Occasionally we use this room for mindfulness. And they all have book cubbies that they can keep their books so they know what they've been reading and can keep reading them the next time they get some library time. Our open space here is used for morning activities. We sometimes have snack and lunch here when we don't go outside. And we also use this as extra learning space. Now we're gonna walk into our STEAM room, which is a little bit messy because this is our make a mess space. So this is our STEAM room. One of our last projects, the kids were creating cities. They were working in collaborative groups to create cities out of given materials. So they painted them, they decorated them, they put power lines on them, they built solar panels on them, and they each created their own city design. So this is our space where we do a lot of our science, a lot of our art, a lot of our tinkering, a lot of our making, and where we work on another one of our graduate standards, which is having a scientific mind. So that one goes very close in hand with growth mindset, in that we follow more of a scientific method, discovering a problem, thinking of a solution to a problem, trying out our solutions, and then seeing if it works or if it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, going back to that growth mindset in that we haven't failed, we just found a way that didn't work. And so how do we work to make it better? And how do we try again? And that goes with scientific mind, and our entrepreneurship program also goes along with that. When we're looking at products, when we're looking at problems to solve in the community, we go through the same process. So we have restrooms here in the back. You were looking at our who is responsible bulletin board. We do have a small kitchen. So there's refrigerator, sink, microwave, hot plate, and we use this for learning as well. One of the last things we did in our kitchen was to make dog biscuits for our resident therapy dog, Harold. And making dog biscuits for Harold was a project that allowed us to learn about fractions, to see them both visually on the board, as you can see here, but also to play with the actual measuring cups and take 2 half measuring cups and pour them into 1 cup, and take 4 quarter cups and pour them into 1 cup. And so our kinesthetic learners can learn actually by seeing and doing and handling the cups. Our visual learners can see this, and our dog lovers got to make treats for Harold, which was super fun for everybody. From here we can walk out our back door. We see the side area of our outdoor space, an open area, and the pea plants that our students planted right before we went on what my daughter is calling cancel virus break. So our pea plants are growing strong. Our strawberries are growing strong. So gardening is one of the things that we do with our students as well, as a part of our project-based learning curriculum. So we look at gardening, we look at cooking, we look at how we can draw in life skills to enhance the learning for our students. This is our green room. We use this primarily for our robotics program, which this year we had a girls robotics team. They designed their own logos. An all-girls robotics team for grades 3 to 5, and next year we'll expand that into girls and boys. This is our Mandarin Classroom. Our students were studying Chinese New Year and learning about the Chinese zodiac right before we went on break. So you can see some of their work is still here. And these are their photos of, I think my daughter taught me how to say Sheng Mao is panda bear. I'm working on my Mandarin. So as we walk back through the rest of the school, I can talk a little bit more about our social emotional learning. So social emotional growth and social emotional learning is one of our graduate standards here at Up Academy as well. We utilize the zones of regulation to help students have a core vocabulary of how to talk about their feelings and where they are throughout the day. Then they have toolboxes and different ideas and brain breaks and things that they can use to help their social emotional learning. We have a wonder wall. This is part of our inquiry learning. So as students have questions about things that happen throughout the day or just questions about the world, I see one of the questions on there is, why is white all of the colors of the rainbow? Or how are crystals made? Anything they're curious about, they can put on the wonder wall. And then at least once a week, our educator goes through that wonder wall with them and says, is anybody else curious about this? And tries to answer those questions. So sometimes it's as simple as watching a video about why that is. Sometimes it blows into a full-blown project about the question that they had that they were wondering about. Here's a general schedule for the day. This was our last Friday that we were here. It was a trial day, so it was fun. We had art twice that day. You can see the alphabet that the students made earlier in the year to help their learning. And here's a board from their Measure Me project. So this is one of our project-based learning projects. One of the tenets of our curriculum is project-based learning. And so the Measure Me project starts out with students understanding who they are in the world, which enhances their social emotional learning, understanding their feelings, the feelings of those around them, and their role in the world around them. And then from there, they actually built their own person. So it added in math, where they measured all of their body parts. This was a kindergarten project, so they measured in Unifix cubes. They measured all of their body parts. They wrote down their measurements on paper. They cut out their body parts, and they actually built a paper version of themselves. Once they had themselves, then we also talked about the cultures that we're from and how the colors of our skin and how they're all different, but we're all kind of the same. And then the kids made their own paint to match the color of their own skin and painted their person. and then talked about their identity and the things that they liked, and then they got to dress their person however they wanted to. So some of them were wearing a costume, some of them were wearing their favorite dress, but they got to dress their person like their identity. And the last piece of that project is to write a short identity poem. So there's writing, there's math, there's art, there's science, all involved in one cross-cutting curricular project, which is how we like to teach. I'm going to walk from there into our 2nd and 3rd grade room. And they have also been working on an identity project. There's our educator, Miss Carey's poster. This room also doubles as our Spanish room, so the Spanish alphabet is up. And here's a growth mindset reminder. And the identity project for the 2nd and 3rd graders is a little bit different, where they're creating their own piece of art that identifies them. They're writing a Where I'm From poem using a template in a style, and using the movie Inside Out to talk about feelings and roles and who they are in the world around them. And so those are 2 examples of the projects that we have going on. So we've talked about social emotional learning. We've talked about growth mindset. We've talked about our scientific mind. Our other 2 things that we focus on are executive functioning skills. So having students take agency for their learning. And so I'm going to walk in here and I'm going to show you a little bit about our educational priorities, because this talks a little bit more to students taking agency. So as our priorities as educators, it's to design lessons that combine concepts with experiences. And we do this because when we are able to connect an idea with a thing that we can touch and feel and do and understand, it allows us deeper learning, allows us to remember it, and allows us to recall it when we need that information in another setting. So we build environments that enhance students' agency as learners. And what we mean by that is we really want students to become good learners. We don't mean that we want them to be good students. Our goal is not to have them sit and listen and reply with the answer we want them to have. Our goal is for them to be good thinkers, to discover what they want to learn about, to explore the topics they put on their wonder wall, to really take ownership of their own learning. And so it's our job as educators to build the environments that enhance that for them. Then engaging them in self-assessing their own learning, whether or not they've done that. Did I do a good job as a learner? What else did I want to know about this? What other topics could I have used? What other resources could I have used? Or did I do the best that I could? And I'm really happy with my project and it's time to move on. So our last 2 educational priorities are loving our students, building relationships with them, and building a strong community as a school. So going back to executive functioning skills, helping our students to set goals, to understand where they're going within their project learning, and to really to be a part of their learning and take advantage and take an interest in what they're doing are really important. We want our students to be able to leave here with a solid understanding of a solid basic knowledge from elementary education. So we see it as our goal to build a broad foundation. Our students go to art and music classes, we go to gymnastics classes for physical education. We do coding and programming in school. I mentioned our gardening and our cooking and our STEAM projects, as well, of course, as our foundations of literacy and math. And all of these things combined together work to give our students a solid foundation for success in middle school and beyond. So our last graduate standard that we haven't talked about is influencing action. And how do we influence action in the world around us? And I'm going to grab one of Harold's business cards because we have a pet-assisted therapy dog. There is his certificate. He is a paralyzed Chihuahua mix. who is a part of our school. He's also been on our Facebook page a lot lately. And our Influencing Action project in the world this year has been working with the Mountain View High School engineering class and their capstone engineering class and building a prosthetic device for Harold. So our students did some brainstorming on what Harold would need to be successful, and they created prototypes in their STEAM lab. And then the high school students came and did a field trip to Up Academy to meet us here and to see the kids' prototypes. And so all of our students were able to present to them. They each stood up in front of the class. They worked on their public speaking and sharing their ideas and their prototype to help Harold. Then our high school students did a brainstorming activity with them and then took all of that information back to the high school. So just before we came on to our break that we're currently on, our students had a chance to go down to the high school and see the prototypes that they're working on for Harold and what they're building. And they were able to see the entire engineering lab that the high school students have with the 3D printers, with their laser cutters, and all of the resources that they have to work with. And then also to try out several different prototypes with Harold and give their feedback on what worked, what didn't work, what could be better, and what they thought was great. And so then our high school team took all of that feedback, is in the process of prototyping again. So not only do we talk about a scientific mind and influencing action in the world, but we actually give our students a chance to go through the entire scientific process, see how it works, and be a part of something. So the high school group's goal is to open source their prototype and their product, which means that our students, even our kindergartners as young as 5 years old, are working on something that pets around the world will be able to have access to that will help them, which is a really cool and amazing thing. So I haven't seen any questions come through so far on Facebook. You can post questions after this if you'd like. You are also welcome to email me, and there's more information on our website. So as an information night, all of our admissions information is on our website. You can go to upacademysf, just like our Facebook page, .com, which is our website. We use an outside vendor called Ravenna for our applications. We also use SSS for our financial aid. And we are still enrolling for fall. We have a few spots available. So if you're looking for a progressive school, if you're looking for a school that will help your child to reach their ultimate potential, if you're looking for a school that has a small family community environment to support your children, then look no further and apply today. Thanks for joining me tonight. I look forward to meeting you soon. Good night.